Hey there! Welcome once again to the latest episode of Hiker Homily. And this time I'm going to talk a little bit about Leave No Trace. Now I plan on actually doing a Leave No Trace series where I'm going to go through each principle and what each principle of Leave No Trace is and how you can embrace it, so to speak, when you're out there hiking and stuff like that, and why I think it's important that we do these things. But this particular episode isn't about specifically Leave No Trace. It's about how some people completely misunderstand it and how other people completely, through their misunderstanding, take it way too fanatically. Okay? And I have to admit that part of the problem is the actual name of it. I get why they called it that, but Leave No Trace is misleading because that's an impossibility. If you're the only actual way to leave no trace in a forest is to never go into it. End of story. Period. Zip. Oh, that's kind of not going to work for the hiking world, right? For those of us who want to actually enjoy nature and go out into it, it is impossible to leave no trace. So Leave No Trace for some is this fanatical, don't touch anything, don't do a thing. You absolutely cannot leave a single trace. Unfortunately, that's not possible. And a lot of people like to point that out because they also have misunderstood Leave No Trace. And because you always see these comments, especially when things like cairns get brought up or other types of things. Someone will scream, Leave No Trace. That's wrong because of Leave No Trace. And right away you get some smartass. Yes, because the trail you're walking on isn't a trace. True. 100% true. The implication, though, being we shouldn't even bother trying to not disturb the forest because we've already disturbed it by putting a trail through it. That's not necessarily solid logic. I'm sorry, it's just not. Yes, we have put trails through forests. We have man-made trails. That is indeed a trace. Leave No Trace, as I said, even though it's called No Trace, is not about completely zero traces, because that would be impossible. It is all about minimizing the effect you have. Now, yes, there are already trails in the forest, and that's why Leave No Trace says stay on the established trails. Okay? Because again, you have zero chance of having zero impact on a forest when you go into it. Now, can you minimize your impact by staying on the trail that is already established in there? You absolutely can, and you should do that. Okay? That is Leave No Trace. And one of the catalysts that brought this up was somebody posted a picture that was kind of a funny picture of one of the trailblazes. I think it's for the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a diamond trailblaze, one of the older ones, that's on a tree. It's been nailed into the tree because that's how they blaze the trail, unfortunately. And it's just a blank diamond metal plate that has been nailed into the tree, and it's high enough that it would be above snow level, so when you're walking you can see this metal blaze. There it is, I'm on the trail, just in case the trail has become overgrown and things like that. And somebody had taken a magic marker and on that blank diamond trail had written like a mileage count, Mordor is blah 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 away, and things like that. Kind of a funny little joke, fairly clever. Some people laughed at it, some people freaked out that you have desecrated the wilderness and how dare you and blah blah blah. Now, me personally, do I need to see people writing on those things? No. Does it tip me over the edge? Do I completely freak out about it? I absolutely don't, because the quote-unquote desecration of the wilderness already took place. Metal plates nailed into trees are not a natural occurrence. Okay, we've already desecrated the wilderness. Somebody saw that metal plate being blank and decided they wanted to write a joke on it. Okay, you don't have to laugh at the joke, but did that further desecrate the wilderness? I don't think it did. The desecration was done. We've got a trailblaze, for good or bad, whether you like trailblazers or not. There it is. Somebody added to that trailblaze by writing on it. It's not that big of a deal, but some people just flipped out. Just, oh my gosh, this is horrendous, and whoever did that should be strung up. I mean, people were like legitimately talking about of course, it's online, and they know they're never going to have to follow through with it, so that's how they're brave. Talking like death threats, or I would beat somebody if I saw them. No, you wouldn't. Be quiet. You're just talking big because you're typing and will never have to prove your bravado and stuff like that. But that's an extreme reaction to something that is, it's not the greatest, but it's not that huge of a deal. The freaking metal plate was already nailed into the tree years ago. Somebody writing on it is not something worthy of physical threats and things like that. It's just, okay. But again, it goes that's taking leave no trace a little fanatically. The trace is already there. There's no reason to explode about it. But it is. The biggest misunderstanding about leave no trace that people throw out there is it means that you're going to have absolutely zero impact on the outdoors. And that is absolutely not true. It is absolutely impossible to do that. That is not the cornerstone of leave no trace, is zero impact. Minimal impact is the cornerstone of leave no trace. And so it should not be thrown in people's faces like it's a holy commandment, because it is not. If someone said, man, I had to do such and such, and this is how I solved that problem, and it got me out okay, people who scream, leave no trace, you totally violated leave no trace. Okay, yeah, I violated leave no trace, but I felt I had to because there was some danger and I wanted to get out of that area, and so this is what I did. I bushwhacked through here, or I had to do this, or, because even leave no trace says, in the event of a non-emergency, they talk about how, you shouldn't build a fire. Fires damage the area and things like that. Just the act of collecting wood takes away from the ecosystem and things like that. But if you are stuck there and you have a 50-degree sleeping bag because the weather turned on you in a way that you didn't expect it to, that's also part of leave no trace, is be prepared. You should have the right gear, but you don't. And you're going to be in trouble at night when the temperature drops, so you build a fire for survival. That's what you got to do, okay? And in that case, you're not going to be able to minimize your impact or leave no trace. You need a fire for survival, so you build one and things like that. It's unfortunate that you were not prepared properly for a very cold night or whatever. Or let's say you were going on a day hike, you get lost. You were prepared fully for a day hike. You got lost. You do not have sleeping gear with you at all. You have no sleeping bag, but night is falling and it's going to be cold. You got to do what you got to do and survive. That does not violate leave no trace. That's not part of it. So, again, the gist is leave no trace is often misunderstood in two different ways. It's misunderstood in a fanatical way, that it's some kind of commandment and anyone who breaks it is this horrible creature that should be hung or burned at the stake, which also would violate leave no trace. But on the other side of it is, well, we've already got traces, so why even bother at all? Either one of those is a ridiculous take on leave no trace. Because again, leave no trace is not about zero impact, it's about minimal impact. So yes, trails through the woods are an impact. They're already there. That does not mean you can just do whatever the hell you want and crap everywhere and all that kind of thing. The fact that the trail is there is good in my mind because we get to go visit the woods. That doesn't mean we should disrespect the woods and just completely just trash through the place because, well, hell, we've already built the trail, so why not? We'll just do whatever else we want. Okay? Misunderstanding leave no trace. It's huge. But that's about it for this hiker homily. Agree, disagree, some anecdotal stories you want to tell about leaving no trace or not leaving no trace? Cool. Let me know at hikingforhealthca@gmail.com or in the comments below. Comment on Patreon, comment on Instagram, all under Hiking for Health CA. And that's about it for this episode of Hiker Homily. And we'll catch you later.